welcome. So tell us what you've discovered.
Well, we found that there was a fire on board of the aircraft prior that it disappeared from the radar screens. This is information that we just received from the Aviation Herald and the sources within Egypt Air. The airplane, you know, is sending information constantly via the so-called ACAR system. This is the Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System.
And this is different to the black box and the data recorders? This is different to the black box.
This is going via satellite. It goes all the way, especially whenever there is a change in a system or there's a fault in a system, it will alert maintenance what to do when the airplane is landing. And remember, we had Air France 447 disappearing mid-Atlantic. This was the only and last data that we had for 2 years prior that they recovered the wreckage and the flight data recorder on the bottom of the ocean. Now, this system has sent very clear messages at 026 Zulu, meaning 026 GMT. There was a lavatory smoke detected. And a minute later, avionic compartment smoke. That means the avionic compartment is the compartment underneath the cockpit where all the computers are, where all the electronics are. And remember, the Airbus is a very computerized electronic aircraft. So apparently there was smoke, and where there's smoke, there is fire. And then 2 minutes later, the flight control units are failing, and the secondary flight controls is failing, and then there is no signal.
And the flight control units, these do what?
This is what controls the airplane. The flight path, going up, down, left, right.
So, smoke from the lavatories and smoke from this and presumably this is the forward lavatory.
This is presumably the forward lavatory, yes, close to the avionics compartment.
So, as from your sources, there was a fire on board the aircraft.
This is very clear. There's smoke. Yeah, there's fire. And let me tell you, as a pilot, fire is the most dangerous and life-threatening situation you can encounter on board of an aircraft, especially in this altitude. Remember, you are in a hostile environment there, in a thin tube. If you have a fire there, that means you have to take very drastic action. Land as soon as possible is the order. We all recall the crash of Swissair 111 at the coast of Halifax in June 1998, where a fire was caused by arcing in the electrical system, and 229 people perished.
Fire on board, is there any indication of whether this was arson or a technical malfunction?
We don't know this. This is only the data that was sent by the aircraft. That's now, we have to find the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, and that will then give us the whole picture. But from the moment what we know from these messages, which were sent via satellite to the maintenance department of Egypt Air in Egypt, while the airplane was still flying, we know there was smoke on board and there was a fire.
Sprinkler systems, are they?
Unfortunately not. Yes, you could expect that, especially in an avionics compartment, which is underneath the cockpit and you can only access from outside, you would have something like a sprinkler system in case of a fire. No, it's not mandatory, it's not required, it's not there. Smoke detectors, recall that also, we only find in the lavatories because the airlines and the industry doesn't want people to smoke cigarettes in the lavatories. That's the only reason why you have smoke detectors there. You don't find any in the aft of the airplane.
I won't ask you where you got this information from. Should we expect this now to be made public from Egyptian aviation authorities?
Any minute.
Any minute. Okay. Tim van Beveren, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome.